I don't blame my mom for anything. I don't blame him for anything. But I do feel like that we as adults now, like we're no longer kids now, we have to grow up and like when we do start having our kids, really hone in on how we're raising our kids and don't try to raise them,
Mm.
out of like remorse and don't try to raise them out of I'm trying to be a better parent or like just give them a good childhood.
Yo, what's up? It's your boy Jet Lee. You are now tuned in to another episode of the Load Up Podcast. And I'm always excited to shoot this podcast, man. This is the Load Up Podcast where we encourage you to find your purpose in life and live it. Find your dreams and fulfill them. Like God gave you a purpose, God gave you a dream, God gave you a vision, and He implanted that into you. And it's up to you to tap into it, tap into God and the Spirit, and find what it is that you're here for. Find that purpose that you are on earth for and live it. No matter what you're going through, no matter the hurt, no matter the trauma, no matter your feelings, no matter how many times you lost, no matter how many times you had to start over and over and over and over, you never give up. You keep fighting. You stay the course. You believe in God. You believe in yourself. You believe in your dreams and the purpose that you have, and you go and live it. And I just had to get that off my chest. But I do this podcast with my co host, the lovely, gorgeous, beautiful, smart,
Mm,
loving
mm,
wife that I
mm,
have, Miss
mm.
Courtney B. What's going on?
Hey, hey, hey,
How
hey.
you feeling?
I am feeling good. We took a month
You
off.
look good.
Thank you. You
You
wanted to
welcome.
say that so bad, didn't
Yeah,
he?
I did.
He
You
wanted to say
look
that so
good,
bad.
girl.
He want to talk about my hair so bad, yeah.
I ain't say. I said you look
Nah,
good.
he want to talk about it so bad. Thank you, baby.
Golly.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you. Always gassing me up.
Yes,
Always. That's who you
I
are.
am your gas station.
You are. You know what? You are definitely my filling station, and I thank you for that.
Yes, you
I
welcome.
appreciate you. I honor you
Mm,
for just being who you are.
mm.
I thank you for loving me.
Ooh,
Ooh,
through the good,
through all of it.
the
The good,
bad,
the bad,
the
the ugly,
crazy.
the crazy. You know all of me. And you still love me. And I just want to publicly thank you.
Mm,
You feel the love?
I feel
Like you
it.
know I love you.
Yeah, I do.
Like it's no you're just always there.
Mm,
Anytime I need anything,
yes.
which I know a lot of people feel like, well, that's your husband, that's what he's supposed to do. But it's always selfless.
Mm,
um, when I'm sick or down, like you're there. Even all of this that's been going on with the business and like moving and, our new location and everything. It's like just looking at you just in the background. You're just always excited with however you can help. And I appreciate you.
oh
I'm
yeah.
so grateful for you.
Mm,
You are the absolute light of my life.
thank you.
And I love you.
Thank you. I love you too.
Hmm.
Mm. We weren't even
Mm.
supposed to go
I
all
don't even
there,
know how we
but
got there.
we'll take it though.
Yeah. Okay, cool.
Nah, that's
I just
that's
wanted to tell you
that's
that
uh,
though.
that's our relationship.
It
That's
is.
our relationship for real. It's real. It's real love,
Yeah.
not faking. But yeah, man. So we are here for a special topic
Mm-hmm.
that we've been talking about, and we've been thinking about for a while now, and I think we just been kind of taking our time with it because
Yeah.
it could be a very sensitive topic, and we just want to make sure that we're going the right way with it. Um, this is just our opinion. This is just me and Courtney talking. So, take it for what it is.
Yeah.
But this is just how we feel, just some of my feelings and thoughts about this topic. And we're talking about parent trauma.
Mm-hmm.
Again, parent trauma. And one thing about parent trauma is all of us have it in common.
Yeah.
You could be black, white, Hispanic, Asian, it doesn't matter. We all have some type of parent trauma.
Yeah.
Um, and parent trauma can affect your life good or bad. It's something that influences our life. It influences us, our decisions, our habits, our thought process about
Mm-hmm.
relationship choices, lifestyle,
Yes.
religion.
Yeah.
So parents, believe it or not, you shape a person so much, and it's really up to the parents. It's up to us to make sure that we are the role models or
Mm.
modeling a life that somebody would say, man, I want to live like that.
Yeah.
I like their habits, I like their lifestyle, I like their choices, and I want to model that type of lifestyle. So we all go through things, man. We've all been through things. Our childhood, our upbringing, um, it's all filled with good trauma and some bad trauma. First, I would like to just kind of start with the definition of trauma, because I know we got to lay the foundation
Yeah.
for it. So, babe, you want to give us that definition?
Yeah. So trauma is a deeply distressing or harmful experience that can have a lasting negative impact on an individual's physical, emotional, and psychological well being.
That's good.
So, deeply distressing or harmful
Yeah.
experience, and it can be physical, emotional, and psychological.
Mm, that's good.
Yeah.
And I've like we all been affected in not one but maybe all categories.
Yeah, for sure.
You know, parent trauma is just something that we all have to deal with, and it affect our choices.
Mm-hmm.
So it affect our choices in a good way, affect our choices in a bad way.
Yeah.
Like we were talking about, the choices of I don't want to make the same choices that my parent made.
Right.
I want to make better choices. And you talk about a time where you was like, hey, I'm gonna make some better choices so I
Yeah.
can come out with a different outcome. Just kind of reflecting on your childhood.
Yeah. No, honestly, um, as you said in the beginning, like this was kind of a touchy subject because how do you come and talk about experiences without it necessarily making the person that did the
Yeah.
things look bad
Right.
or feel
Right. Right.
bad,
Right. Right. Right.
And that's not what this is about.
At
It's
all.
really about like this is my life. This is my trauma. This is my emotions. This is how I um what I experience, how it's like allowing me and shaping my life.
Mm-hmm.
So I heard someone say before, they asked the question, like, how do you talk about things, including other people, and like without making them or being okay with how they feel? And they just said, this is my life.
Mm.
So I just wanted to kind of get a disclaimer before we
For
actually
sure.
got into this. But for me, I can just remember growing up, and although like I feel like my parents, my mom did the best she could. My dad, which everyone knows that he's my stepdad, but he raised me, so he is my dad. But I think they did the best that they could with what they had, with what they were taught, with what their parents did. And I think we always look at how our parents treat us or what they give to us and offer us. We look at just them instead of looking
Looking
at
at
who came before them, looking at our
exactly.
grandparents and looking at
Exactly.
our great grandparents, because a lot of us don't know further than our great grandparent.
For sure.
So when we look at our great grandparents, then our grandparents, now our parents, we're able to see where all of this came from.
Mm-hmm. That's good.
So now, to answer your question, can I speak on some things? Now I can. Originally growing up, it was just my mom and I.
Mm-hmm.
I can remember she would work double shifts, and she would be gone all day, and I would be with my grandma. But what I can say is, I know that she made it her business to, like, anything that I was doing, anything that I had going on, she was there. But at the same time, a lot of the trauma that she dealt with, it trickled over. So because her mom, wasn't the loving mom or wasn't the Like, she probably never heard her mom tell her that she loves her
Mm-hmm.
or even felt like her mom loved her. I mean, of course, you my mom, so I know that you love me, but
Right.
it's a difference in knowing you love me and feeling like and hearing
And
it,
hearing.
actually hearing you
Okay.
love me.
Yeah.
So I can remember growing up, I can't tell you how many times I've heard in my whole life, how many times I've heard my mom tell me she loved me.
Mm.
Now she's telling me a little more, but it's still kind of different because like I didn't necessarily experience it. So now
Right.
in my relationships or when I'm
Mm.
actually meeting other people,
Right.
I'm kind of overcompensating for love now because I want to, like, I think I just asked you, like, do you feel my love? Like, I always do that because, like, I want to make sure that people in my life know that I love them. So, growing, like, when I do have children, like, I say now, like, I'm going to make sure that those babies know. Like, I want to make sure that they hear I love you in the house first. And like even with my dad as well, I know I told him one day, you were with me. I told him I love you, and it kind of like choked him up. Like
Mm-hmm.
he didn't know how to say, I love you, but I also know how his dad was.
Right.
He lost his mom
Right.
in college, and then his mom, his dad, you know, he was different. He was his own person, and a lot of us have a lot of the same habits and a lot of the same characteristics as our parents, and we don't really
Mm-hmm. And we don't
understand
know.
that.
Yeah.
We don't really get
Like,
it.
dang, I act
I
just
act just like
like
them.
them.
And no matter how sometimes like
Yeah.
I can hear myself saying like, ooh, when I get older, I don't want to be like that. I don't want to be like my mom in this area. Or I don't want my husband to be like how my dad was in this area.
Right.
But at the same time, we have to sometimes take the step back just to see where it came from, what was the root.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's a lot, that we experience, and I'm just like now like, okay, I see why she acts like that. Oh, I see where that comes from.
Right.
Did that answer your question?
Yeah. And so that was like where my mom trauma came from
Mm-hmm.
because her mom and her upbringing, they never said they love you
Mm.
in the house.
Yeah.
It wasn't a loving house. They understood that love, they loved each other, but it wasn't said, it wasn't
Yeah.
verbal. And so when that was one thing that she said she wanted to break was when she had kids,
Yeah.
she wanted to make sure that I told them that I
Yeah.
loved them and hugged on them.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why I'm like that too. Like
Yeah.
I hug you, I tell you I love you, all that stuff, because that was like my upbringing.
Yeah.
As far as, my so when they had me, they were married, but then they separated. And so I see some characteristics that my dad have that it was just like I don't want that.
Yeah.
I don't want to grow up and build a lifestyle off of that.
Yeah.
So that was something that I always made sure that I was being aware of.
Cognitive. Yeah.
Yeah, because I was like, I don't want to slip down that road and I look up and I'm like, dang, like where my life went.
Yeah.
Like why I didn't accomplish much. Why
Yeah.
I didn't, do things. Some trauma that I felt like I had from my childhood was just the single parent trauma.
Yeah.
Just having to see your mom struggle, just having to see things repossessed and being evicted
Yeah.
and having to go live with family members and
Mm-hmm.
stuff like that. That trauma, it's it could be a bad trauma. It depends on the person, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because that trauma could have led me down the road to the streets,
Right.
to drugs,
Right.
to a different lifestyle.
Right.
But I used that trauma too to kind of build me and shape me and
Mm-hmm.
mold me to say, hey, that's where load came from.
Yeah.
Being evicted and staying with family members. That's where the turning point of my life came from.
Mm-hmm.
So it is critical that we encourage the people too, that whatever trauma that they're dealing with,
Yeah.
you got two options with it.
Yeah.
You can either let this trauma break you and turn you down a path of depression
Yeah.
and just self-pity and down and out, or you
Mm-hmm.
can use this trauma as a turning point
Yeah.
to build off of this and go to the next level in your life. um but we all go through those things. I had this quote here where it says your kids build their life off their parents' habits.
Mm,
That is so good.
that is.
Your kids build their life off their parents' habits. And I was telling you this example. I was like, look at LeBron
Mm-hmm.
and look at Michael Jordan kids.
Yeah.
LeBron, we see that he lives and operates in excellence, and he has his two boys coming right up behind him.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, they are their own person. They
Yeah.
can make their own choices,
Mm.
but they see who their dad is.
Yeah.
Ooh,
That's
that can
good.
bring us into
Right. Look.
yeah, to who our dad, our
Yeah.
spiritual father is.
Yeah.
And then you have Michael Jordan's sons that Jordan operated in excellence, but his sons, we like, where they at? They
Mm-hmm.
not doing anything. I was expecting for them to be famous, do something. You know what I'm saying? Because
Mm-hmm.
of who your dad was,
Right.
you would expect for them to just kind of be some type of ball player, be some type of entertainment influence or whatever they could have done, but they had their own choices. And we was talking about that too, where even though you can raise your child right and you can model great parenting skills and
Yeah.
habits
They
and
still
everything,
make
they
their own
still gonna make
choices.
their own decisions.
Yeah.
So that's me now speaking to the person that you came from the two parent household. You came from a good upbringing. You came from a good lifestyle, but you made some bad choices.
Yeah.
Like those choices on you.
Mm-hmm.
That's not on nobody else but you.
Yeah.
So you have to now take responsibility, be accountable, and own up to them choices that you made. And from this point on, try to make better choices. Let this be your turning point in
Yeah.
your life.
I think we have to be careful too with parent trauma, or even with not necessarily only parent trauma, because we know that that is the bad that affected us emotionally, physically, psychologically. But I think we also have to be careful with like parent habits, because we can pick up on habits and we automatically think that that's the way life should go. We automatically think that that is right. And
Right.
I know my mom and I have conversations all the time about, well, grandma taught that and you remember grandma teaching that, and I'm like, yeah, grandma taught that, but that could have just been the level that she was exposed to,
Right.
what she understood. But that
Right.
doesn't mean it's the end all be all. I remember
Right.
when we first got married, I used to be like, who raised you, like why
Right.
you think like that? And
Right.
thinking that because this is something that I have been taught in my household,
Right.
and you was taught something different in your household, it doesn't mean that one of us is right and one of us is wrong. We just were taught two completely different ways. So we do have to be careful with thinking that just because we were taught and brought up a certain way, that this is how it's supposed to go. So a lot of times we may feel like because parents taught us a certain way of like saving, or a certain way of spending money, or a certain way of like just how life works,
Right.
until we get out in like the real world and we're able to experience other people and see how like two lives can collide and we live two completely different lifestyles. It's still the world, it's still the life, it's still us existing in this same space. But it's okay that everything doesn't just always look the same way that you were taught in your household. Because I know that I'm breaking down a lot of barriers now. I'm breaking down a lot of things that, like it's just not one way. My grandma used to say it's not one way to skin a cat. She used to always say that. And it is like it's so many different ways to still get to the outcome that we want. And I think the trauma comes in because we were never given necessarily like options. Everybody don't get the chance to have options, like, or exposure. And
That's
if
good.
you were taught, like we talk about all the time, when you run on, people, when y'all go run calls and things like that, why it's generational project livers. Project living, rather. I said project livers. Project living. Like, your grandma stayed in the projects, and then, your mama lived in the projects, and your mama had you, and now you live in the projects with your kids. Like, at what point do we break the cycle?
That's good.
And I think that is a form of trauma. So some people may be listening now and may be like, well, I had a great relationship with my parents. I had a great relationship. Yes, but there is something that was taught to you that sometimes can like corrupt our thinking in a way that it's only one way to do something. Like just because your family did it, just because everybody in your family did it, doesn't mean that you have to do it. Or just because your parents like made decisions for you. Like in college, I used to see so many people that were in college because of something that because their parents are paying for it,
Right.
or because their grandparents did something, their parents did it, and then now I have to do it. Like
Right.
no, like you were
Right.
given your own purpose, you were given
Your own life.
your own life
Yes.
to do what you were called to do.
That's good.
And until you do it, you're not gonna feel fulfilled.
That's good.
Until you actually do what God has put you here to do and break out of this, like there are generational cycles are real, generational consequences are also real. And I think that as long as we live in, and I don't really want to call it bondage, but anything that's not freedom is bondage. But until we're able to break free and literally live this life of healing, like my parents did the best that they could. Like that was one thing that really, I think that helped both of us. Like I don't know where we heard that at, but the
Yeah.
moment that we both kind of, allowed that to just be,
Right. Right.
they did the best that they could with what they
Right.
had. And even if they didn't make the best decisions, that was just the best that they can do at
Do
that time.
at that time. Yeah.
And I think that when we get to that point of healing, and then second, we kind of understand that we're here, like we're still here. We needed those experiences. Like
Yeah.
I don't I don't I don't blame like my mom for anything. Like I
Right.
don't blame her, for like working, or I don't like working and not being, always being there. She just couldn't. She had to do what she had to do to make
Right.
sure she covered for both of us. I don't blame her for not telling me that she loved me. She didn't really know, how she was trying to. She had me at 20. She's trying to she's still growing up. So I can imagine having a
Right.
child at 20. I don't blame her, for like some of the conversations that we had, some of the hurtful things that she's had, because she still is trying to heal herself. But I think that when we get to a point where we're trying to heal as well and just understand, like, I don't have to carry that with me. Like, I don't have to carry the trauma.
Right.
It's only trauma as long as, like,
You
I'm
give it
not,
power.
I give
Yeah.
it power, and I don't take my power back,
Yeah.
I'll say. Because sometimes we're not going to get closure. Like,
Yeah.
I honestly, I can't even tell you how old I was before I heard "I'm sorry" from my mom.
Yeah.
Like I was an adult. I can't imagine, not me saying I can't imagine raising a child and not telling the child I'm sorry. But can you imagine what that does to
What
a
does to a
child?
child? Yeah.
Like it's like what an adult always right. And now, so when I'm getting older, of course we going back and forth now because I'm like, you ain't always right. Now I'm grown now. Like I can, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But I think it's just so important that we learn to heal. We don't have to take
Yeah.
that with us. Like we can take our power back and leave childhood trauma where it is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's good. Parents have to heal,
Yeah.
and they don't.
Mm-mm.
They don't. And
Emotionally immature
r-
people are raising emotionally immature parents are raising emotionally immature children.
yeah, all the way.
Yeah.
They really have to take the time to heal from
Mm-hmm.
their trauma.
Yeah.
And I know back then, like they would say, talking to somebody,
Oh,
a therapist, that was so
they weren't doing
far
that.
out their mind.
Yeah.
That was something they don't even talk about.
Mm-mm.
And so, I never forget. I asked my dad, like, why you wasn't there?
Yeah.
Like I'm not hurt about it, because I had so much peace with it.
Yeah.
God, I thank God for that,
Mm-hmm.
because it was a lot of kids that used it as an
Oh,
excuse
yes.
to act out, to do
Mm-hmm.
whatever, they chose to do. And I was just like, I'm not gonna get that much power.
Mm-mm.
You know what I'm saying? It's like, this is my life.
Yeah.
He wasn't there for a reason. So I asked him, like, yo, man, like, what happened?
Yeah.
Like, why you wasn't there? And he said he didn't know how to be a father
Yeah.
because he didn't have a father.
Mm.
Now, is there some truth to that? Maybe. But at the end of the day, it's still an excuse,
Yeah.
because you could have been there for your child.
For sure.
You know what I mean? And I have a great dad. Shout out to my dad. He watched, and that's just the truth. These
Yeah.
facts. You know what I'm saying? It's just like, you still could have been there for me.
Yeah. For sure.
We have a good relationship. We talk. He
Yeah.
called, and and we see each other. But he still wasn't there. He
Yeah.
wasn't at the
And that's a part of
prom.
your
You know what I'm
story.
saying? Like he
Yeah.
wasn't at like
My big
the
moments.
moments, the basketball games. He
Yeah.
wasn't at these places, and it's just like, bro, even though if your dad wasn't in your life, you should have said, "I'm gonna be in my child life,
Yeah. And we don't
regardless."
understand
But
how
that was trauma that he never healed from.
from on his
And
end.
look, he calling now. That's
That is
crazy.
so funny.
That's crazy. That's my guy.
Yeah, he
But that was a real
calling.
conversation that we had.
That is.
Yeah.
And it's so crazy that you brought up fathers because well dads because I can remember like when everything was like going on like the child court and everything like my my biological dad I never forget and I'm one that I don't forget nothing now and I definitely
Definitely
ain't
don't
forget
forget.
nothing then. I don't forget nothing now. But I remember like he called DHR like on my mom.
Yeah.
Like first of all, you don't even take care of me. Why are you
Right.
like
Why
trying
you
to mess
even
up my life? You know?
exactly?
And I can remember
That's
like
unnecessary trauma.
so
It's just
crazy. Like
unnecessary.
DHR coming to ask me, like, do my mama hit me? Do she feed me? Like, as a kid, I'm
Yeah.
experiencing this, you know? And
Crazy.
then like after you done did all of this and they go to family court to get visitation rights, my mom packed my bag for me to come stay with you, you know, for the weekend. You don't show up.
Crazy.
So now I'm out there, you know, I'm out there
Even
sitting
more trauma
outside.
now.
I'm at the door waiting on you, and you don't never show up. So then now I'm taking that with me, like, okay, well now it's survival out here because I got to be okay whether this person show up for me or not,
Right.
and then being able to navigate this in my relationships, you know, to this day, like. I hate the fact that so many of us have that same story. So
I had that
many of
same
us
story too.
have the story of, you know, he said he gonna come, he ain't come.
And gone.
You know, you don't show up, you got an excuse, you know, you don't actually like you say you care, but every time we talk, like you're trying to down the mom and all of this, like we are moving forward. Like if I'm on my healing journey
Yeah.
and I'm ready to move forward, like let's talk about now.
Right.
Let's talk about how we can get better now, how we
Right.
can move forward now. And the crazy part is like I don't feel like the same way I said I don't blame my mom for anything. I don't blame him for anything. But I do feel like that we as adults now, like we're no longer kids now, we have to grow up and like when we do start having our kids, really hone in on how we're raising our kids and don't try to raise them, you know, out of like remorse and don't try to raise them out of I'm trying to be a better parent or like just give them a good childhood. Like that's it. That's
Yeah.
all we can do. Give them a good childhood. A lot of times, like we try to not be a parent of the parent that we had so much that we still miss it because we're trying to like just don't do this, don't do that, do it like this, do it this way, like, and we keeping like this tight grip on them instead of just being the best parent that we know how to be, giving
Exactly.
them like being focused on giving them the good childhood, a right childhood that they enjoy, understanding who your child is. I believe that now that I'm able to kind of think back on it, I don't think that my mom understood me as a child. She was in survival mode. She was in survival of it's just me and her. Like I got to make sure that I'm taking care of her. I got to make sure that, you know, I'm doing what I can to make sure we're good
That's
instead
good.
of what does she need?
That's good.
What does she need from me? What does she need from me in this season? And I think a lot of times parents are parenting based off of what they want to give the child instead of what the actual child needs. And I think that does breed a lot of trauma as well because now we feel unheard. Now we feel like, you know, you're not listening to me. You're just doing what you feel because you're the parent. Because I know like when I used to ask like, well, why is this? Because I was
You
curious.
was curious.
I was one of them children that said, have y'all ever heard kids? They'd be like, why?
Why?
Well, why?
Why?
And I'm not questioning you. It's like I want to know why. Like, why are we doing this?
Right.
Why is it like this? Why do
Right.
you think like this? Not because you talk this way. Why do we think this way?
Right.
But I think that allows the child to feel like we're in a family. It's not you're the parent, what you say goes. We're a family. We're a unit. We move together. And I think just looking at children from just in the world now, this breed of generation is different. They are different. But I
Different.
think they're not heard. I think they're not loved. I think that they're not seeing love, so they're not able to distribute love and spread love.
And they quick to be diagnosed with something. Quick.
Like, come on.
Yeah, yeah. Man,
Yeah,
that what's so funny is my mom and dad done called me since we been here.
that's funny.
That's funny. But um another thing that's been passed down to us
Mm.
through trauma,
Mm-hmm.
financial.
Mm.
And I never forget I asked my mama too. I'm like,
How
so
did it
I'm like,
kill?
I'm curious too. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? As I got older and I'm just like watching the struggle, man, and I'm like, what happened?
Yeah.
I'm like, why weren't I think I said, why weren't you successful?
Right.
Like what happened?
Mm-hmm.
And so she just kind of started taking me through her life, and it was choices.
Yeah.
Like
That's
just
just what
making
it goes
bad
down
choices.
to.
Like, yeah,
Yeah.
you know what I'm saying? Like just making different choices. It's like,
Yeah.
and that kind of leads you to a place where, it's like now you here in life,
Yeah.
and it's like now you got these kids and now you struggling.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, I'm sure you didn't plan to be here,
Right.
but it happened and now you
Some
here,
decisions.
and
Yeah.
now you're stressed and you depressed, and
Yeah.
you starting to trying to find outlets and different things, and that's just kind of bringing on more stress, bringing
Yeah.
on more trauma and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And so I was just like, because I was just so curious on, you know, why you weren't successful, like why we don't have no money,
Yeah.
like
For
why we
real.
got to struggle.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like like she did go to nursing school
Mm-hmm.
and became a LPN. But things happened where she lost her license,
Yeah.
got married. So the choice of, being married to the person, like to the right person, is everything. So that kind of changed her life too. And so being married to my dad for 10 years,
Yeah.
and then getting a divorce after they had me,
Yeah.
and everything that they went through financially. And so passing down that financial trauma is real
Oh yeah.
deal.
Mm-hmm.
That's like that, and spiritual. Those the two biggest things. You know
Yeah.
what I'm saying? It's like, so for me, because I saw the trauma in my father life
Mm-hmm.
and in my mom life financially, I'm like, I
I
don't
gotta
want to
do
be
that.
like that.
Yeah. 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 For sure.
And I think that's a lot of both of our drive is just to like, bro, we got to make sure we straight.
Yeah.
Like we're gonna make sure we have to pay our bills. We're gonna save.
Yeah.
We got different investments. We got businesses. We got stocks. We got to make sure, like, when we have kids struggling,
Yeah.
and it's not gonna be a thing. Like, we're not trying to struggle and have no kids,
Right.
and we want to be able to teach them about saving,
Right.
investments,
Financial literacy.
business,
Yes.
different things. Like, they didn't talk to us about that. Well,
No.
talk to me about that.
No.
It was more of like my Uncle Buck was
Mm-hmm.
kind of like, hey, you get $10, save $1 type thing. You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
it was like, but my mom couldn't say nothing. She trying to turn a dime into $1. You
Yeah.
know what I'm saying? So
Robbing
it's
people to
like,
pay Paul.
yeah.
Yeah.
So it's like she don't have much financial
Yeah.
advice, or my dad. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And so that's why I ended up bankrupt at
Yeah.
25.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Just kind of like just trying to figure it out.
Yeah.
Cause I didn't have you don't have much guidance.
Yeah.
And a lot of us deal with that.
Yeah.
A
For sure.
lot of people, like, their parents can't teach you how to start a business because they don't have a business,
Yeah.
or how to save $1, but because they don't have nothing saved
Yeah.
for the future.
Mm-hmm.
So, but like that financial trauma, y'all, like, we got to stop that in this generation. Like, stop that with you. Like,
Yeah.
let this be the last generation that's like, we struggling, we going without, we can't do.
Yeah.
We losing homes, we losing cars, and we in so much consumer debt.
Yeah.
And I know things happen. We're not gonna say that, because life be life, and then
It
life
does.
life gon' life.
It's
You
gonna
know what I'm
continue to
saying?
life.
And so life gon' life, but we gotta make sure that we're doing the best that we can do to make sure that the next generation
Yeah.
is not, they don't have to go through that.
Yeah, and I think too, because I know with me, and I can talk about this. My mom didn't talk about finances. I can remember, seeing the insufficient fund notices coming in the mail, and then you still out there
Sure.
buying. Even like when we even talk about marriage, like their relationship, I can remember like she'd buy something, and she'll leave the box in the car and take the shoes in the house. Like I could see all of that stuff, and then and to see that as a kid, when I grow up, I'm in my mind, I'm like, either I'm gonna hide this from my husband, like, or like we gonna talk about it. And I
Yeah.
chose, like, now that's why we are so vocal
Yeah,
now
we are.
about our finances, because I don't want any secrets about money. For one, I think if not the biggest um part of divorce, or the biggest reason for divorce, is because of finances.
Right.
And I don't want that for us. Like, I want us to be able to talk. I want us to be able to be clear about the money. We got it, we got it, or we don't. Like, what do we
Right.
need to
Right.
do to do
Right.
better? We've always been like that.
Yeah.
But I can also remember growing up, my dad would tell me, like, he would be the one that kind of try to talk to me about like finances and making sure that you got money for this, and you make sure you got money for whatever it is that you want to do. You work hard, make sure you got it, whatever. Yes, he did, but it wasn't like financial literacy. Like, how do you save? Like,
Yeah.
it was more of like the stingy side.
Yeah.
Like, and when I call him stingy, it's not like I don't feel like he don't want to give people and do for people, because I do feel like he's heartless. Like, he does want to help people, but it's still like I need to hold it. I don't need to spend. I need to save it,
Scarcity.
like a scarcity mindset. Like, I need
Yeah.
to hold on, so I need to put it over here to the side. You got the money. If it's something that you want to do, go and hit the money that you saving. If anything was to happen today, it's nothing. Like, you can't take it
Can't
with you.
take it.
You
Yeah.
gonna, of course, we know the Bible says that a good man leaves an inheritance for his children's children. We know that, but at the same time, like, it's a very, very thin line between like scarcity and saving.
Yeah.
Like, it's a very, very thin line between that. So for me, when I would try to kind of find my way in the finance world, like, do I spend it even when I ain't got it, or do I kind of put mine to the side? You remember when we first met, I was like, well, I ain't never had nothing. I'm buy what I want because I got it. I work hard every day. You know what I'm saying? When we
Oh.
first, and Jet was like, wait a minute, slow down. Yeah, you can buy it, but hold up. But that was a part
Yeah.
of my upbringing,
Right.
because now it's like I ain't never had nothing. I ain't never been able to get nothing. Now that when I was working, that was the most money I had never seen. You know what I'm saying?
For
So I'm
sure.
like, I can do it. Let me get it.
Yeah.
What I supposed to do?
Right.
Put a little money over here for savings if I am saving anything. But it was because we weren't in a place. We weren't in a place at that time where we really understood the power of saving, the power of understanding money. Like, money is currency. You tell it where it needs to go so it can come back to you. You
Right.
know. So I appreciate you for that. Like, Jet handles all of our finances. Let's be very
I'm
clear.
trying
Even
my
though I ain't
best.
that same, I'm not like I was. I'm still the spender. Very,
Oh,
very much.
for sure.
But I appreciate the fact that we didn't allow
Yeah.
what we experienced as kids, and this is just like this is even a in-depth
Yeah.
conversation. This
Yeah.
is
For
really a
sure.
surface conversation.
For sure.
But I can say the things that we have experienced and the things that we've been through, we didn't allow it, to consume us, and we're still able to, be fluent in our relationships, be fluent, in our finances, be fluent in, just this world and this life that we're trying to create. So before we head out, what is something that you would leave people who feel like they just can't break the cycle? They can't break what they've experienced from their parents, and they're an adult, and people are just telling them, well, you're an adult now, you is why you still bring, because people say that, well, you're grown now, like, you still carrying that with you. So what's something that you would leave for somebody that's watching right now that don't know how to just break that cycle and walk in freedom?
You must be in my head, because that was the question that I was supposed to
We
ask
won,
you.
baby. We won, baby. We won.
But yeah, man. And like you said, on these calls at the station, man, I see it so much, man, and it's bad.
Yeah.
And I really sit back and think about, how does a kid make it out of this?
Yeah.
Like, out of this situation, how does somebody make it out of the slums of having nothing?
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes I feel like I don't know the answer, and sometimes I feel like if somebody's there right now and they need something, need like a word, it will have to be, one, you're gonna have to find a relationship with God,
Yeah.
your creator. That's going to be step one. I don't know, if you don't have no relationship with God, you need to find one. You need to build one. You need to try, because you need to try for real, because God is the only person. He's the begin, like he's the foundation.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like you can't we know you can't build your house in sand, it's gonna fall.
Yeah.
You gotta build
Firm
your life on
foundation.
something solid.
Mm-hmm.
And God is the only solid one. That's the first solid. Two, after you start to build this relationship with God, and you having faith, you know, you're gonna have to put the work in.
Yeah.
Like you're gonna have to work for it. And it's gonna be hard.
Mm-hmm.
It's gonna be real hard to do it. To pull yourself out of the negative, it's gonna be hard.
Yeah.
And nobody else can do it though but you. Either you're gonna have to look at your life and say either, and this gonna be real blunt, either I'm gonna be successful or you're gonna be living on the street.
Mm.
Like you can be a crackhead living under the bridge,
Mm.
or you can be successful and live in a house,
Mm.
apartment somewhere. It's
Mm.
possible.
Mm.
It's very possible. But you're gonna have to believe in God. You're gonna have to believe in yourself.
Mm-hmm.
You're gonna have to put the work in, and you have to be dedicated. You're gonna have to be committed.
Yeah.
You're gonna have to sacrifice. You're gonna have to cry. You're gonna have to scream. You're gonna have to do it all, because it's not your fault
Yeah.
that you come from this, but it is up to you to get yourself out of it.
Mm-hmm.
You know. And like I said, both of us, we both could have, been victim to
Yeah.
running the streets,
Easy.
staying when I was living in this hotel, staying with family members. I could have easily said, "Hey, bro, give me a pat,
Yeah.
bump it. I'm gonna try it." Like, and I did.
Yeah.
And I remember you
When
was
we
like,
first met, I said, "Oh no, oh."
First of all, that's not me.
At
Second of
all.
all, it was like, "What you doing?" And
Right.
you was like, "Bro, really?"
Like no.
And I'm
What
like,
we was
"You
talking
right."
about?
You know what I'm saying? It's like so, but it's easy. I could have forced that lifestyle.
Yeah.
Cause I know everybody. Hey, bro, give me a pound finna hang out with y'all, and let's do it. Whatever.
Yeah.
Like life, and then I'm just about to give up. I'm just about to throw the towel in. Like this just what it is,
Yeah.
and it's not. A lot of
Mhm.
people giving up on their life and they ain't even tried.
Yeah.
Like you ain't even tried to live live a good way.
Yeah.
You just going straight to the block because you see that's all you see.
Yeah.
But somebody that's in the negative, man, like coming from a lot of trauma, somebody coming from a lot of hurt and pain,
Mm-hmm.
I would say first you gotta let that stuff go. You gotta let that pain, that hurt, you gotta let that go, because that's holding you back.
Mm-hmm.
You gotta heal. You gotta get a relationship with God. How do I get a relationship with God? Pick up a Bible.
That's it. Mm-hmm.
Pick up a Bible. Go to a church and tell a pastor or somebody there like what's going on, and see if they can get you into the right way. Get you on the right path. You got to put the work in.
Mm-hmm.
Man, you got to be committed and dedicated to the process of building like building yourself and getting yourself out of there. Because
That's it.
NBA players, you got NBA players that come from nothing.
Yeah.
They in the
Never
NBA
get
now.
'em. Yeah.
Like Anthony, what's his last name?
It was.
Edwards. My boy lost his mama, his grandma that was raising him, his daddy nowhere to be found, but he made it out.
Mm-hmm.
He found a way.
Yeah. He was raised by his sister.
Raised by his sisters, raised
That's
by
so good.
family members.
Yeah.
He could have easily said, "Man, forget this basketball, bro. I'm gonna
Go
go
get 'em."
to the streets."
Yeah.
But he was like, so it's your decisions, man. You gotta make better decisions. You gotta continue to fight.
Yeah. What I would say is, and I'm gonna go ahead and just leave y'all with this. I'm reading a book called Let Them.
Mm-hmm.
And it's revealing to me in so many different ways. Even though it's called Let Them, it's showing me. And I think with Let Them, it's showing you that you try to control people so much. We can't control people. We can't control our parents. We can't control our spouses. We can't control nobody, our boss. We can't control anybody. But when we get to a point where we really accept and we really get it's like a call. Like at this point, like let them. I said you hear me say it now all the time. Let them. Let them. Whatever they want to do, let them do it. If they didn't teach you, if they weren't there, let them. But what the power is, how you take your power back is when you say let me, and it's how you accept it, how what you do to combat all of the things, all of the trauma that you've experienced. And how do you take your power back is what you do in response. How do you respond? What do you do after the thing? So if your parent wasn't there, if your mom still doesn't listen to you, still hasn't apologized, still, doesn't feel like she does anything wrong, let her. But for you, you have to let yourself one accept it, and how do you respond to it? What are
That's
you
good.
going to do different?
That's
And I
good.
think when we shift the the thought from what they're doing to how I'm going to respond to it, we take our power back. And I think that is a way to make sure that we're not carrying that trauma with us, because at the end of the day, you can't change the person. You can't, whatever they do, they're going to do it. Whatever they feel, they're going to do it. And you have to get to a point where you're taking your power back and you are watching how you respond, and you are responding in a way that makes you proud of you. The book is called Let Them. It's by Mel Robbins. I ain't going to spoil it and tell y'all everything, but that is something that's completely changing my life at
That's good.
31 years old. The fact that I'm able to say, like, that's helping me forgive people. That's helping me forgive my
Mm,
mom, even at this big age. That's helping me forgive my dad, even at this big age. It's helping me forgive my biological father at this big age. It's helping me forgive friends at this big age. And most importantly, it's helping me forgive me at this big age.
that's good.
You see, that's all I
That's
got.
good. Well, yeah, man. So it was a good one. It was a good one,
I
man. It's
think
the
so.
end of this one, man. Thank y'all for tuning in. Make sure y'all continue to live your dreams and